Hello everyone and welcome to Wordsmith, geolocation-based word lists. My name is Nathan Miller. Going to be walking you through the Wordsmith program today. What is Wordsmith? It was created by Sanjeev Kawa and Tom Porter. My first experience with this program was at Wild West Hackin' Fest. Sanjeev and Tom presented Wordsmith and its use. Thought it was a really cool tool and wanted to use it for my final project. So it's, in essence, it's a word list generator. What makes it unique compared to other word list generators is its geographic and location info based is where it started. It can grab words specific to an area and is very customizable. Ultimately is used for hash and password cracking. So what words are we talking about? What this software will do is go in. So let's say you are going to Ireland to a penetration test a company that's in a small town in Ireland. What you can use is this generator. It'll grab towns, colleges, streets, landmarks, zip codes, area codes, sports teams, names, all of these things that are specific to that area or region where you are at, and use these to compile word lists. So since their release, I apologize for that video there, my card is apparently not functioning. Since their release, they are now up to 249 different countries that you can utilize this in, where it has information for those countries. This includes 13 different languages. Now the script is still in English, but it will generate words in 13 different languages. They've also included religious information, archaeological, sports teams and names we already touched on. So they're trying to really drill down and find more things that are specific to an area to grab. What they had found in their use is, you have this small town in Louisiana where everyone's a huge fan of the high school sports team. Well, they had found that there was a large number of people in these areas that would use that for their passwords. So it's gathering and grabbing that information for you to use in a word list to further drill down. Why do you use it? Well, to expose your targets. It will get results on top of Wordsmith or word list that you're already utilizing for better results. It's really cool and modular, which we'll get into a little bit later, how you can incorporate it into other programs to utilize. So, how is it used? Well, it's installed from the command line. There's the link there. Very simple to install. It's a very easy process, written in Ruby, and you are going to use that to generate your lists, filling in flags and attributes for your input, your output, your mangling, different attributes that you want to specify when you're working through this. So you can target exactly what you want to utilize and what you don't want to utilize at the same time. So the sources of data that they've used to generate these lists, they've utilized, these are just some of the more notable ones. The CIA World Factbook used that for countries internationally, obviously. Wikipedia, OpenStreetMap, U.S. Census report data, Social Security Administration data, utilizing the Bible and the Quran for religious and other religious texts for getting some of that religious information. They've found that there is a demographic of individuals that you like to utilize Bible quotes, books from the Bible, things out of the Quran, that they want to put these into their passwords. So they've found success with that. A perfect marriage. It is, you can integrate it with Cool, which basically you can use that to scrape websites. So if you're going to go penetration test company XYZ, you can scrape company XYZ's website and pull off all this data from their website that's going to be in between their HTML tags and or other sources, and utilize that, incorporate it into your word lists, which is surprisingly, well, or not surprisingly, very useful. You're going to utilize these word lists, obviously, in conjunction with Hashcat or John the Ripper, and you can pull in rule sets to help with the mangling. Now, the developers actually encourage this. Dead Hobo is one that they utilized in the demonstration. They encourage you to, when utilized with a Dead Hobo rule set, to go and do all your output in Wordsmith into all lowercase, and then pass it on to Dead Hobo to do the mangling, and then using that to pass on to do your cracking. So in conjunction with all three of those, the Wordsmith, the Hashcat, and the Dead Hobo rules, they've found extremely high levels of success, in some areas pretty ridiculous, which we'll get to later. Usernames. You can also use it for usernames. That's where a lot of their U.S. Census data and the Social Security Administration data is coming from. We can pull that, and they're utilizing internationally other methods as well. But we're utilizing that to generate usernames. And it can go through and grab the top 10, 50, 100 names year by year, going back to, I believe it's 1920s, where they've got data where they can pull this information, and so year by year you can go and grab the top names for that year and then use it in conjunction with that current year or whatever you want to specify along the way. And the output then can be generated in, first initial dot last name, first name dot last name, however you want. There's several other ways you can utilize and then use those usernames to check for validity. Okay, test drive. Let's take a look. I could spend quite a bit of time messing with this, but so we're going to try and keep it pretty simple, just for the sake of time here. But so here's the help. This is a nice feature that's when you first open up Wordsmith, it's going to give you all of the attributes and the options. So right here we're going to specify input options. You can use the all category to pull everything, but otherwise you can do this: the names, college sports, landmarks, first names, last names, area codes, road maps. All these things can be incorporated for your input. Username generation, again, that's what we talked about: the first initial, last name, first initial, all these different ways to mangle those for your output. Down here we're going to have the output options. I am not going to be utilizing the quiet flag, so you can actually see the passwords as they come out, but you can use quiet and pass it along to a file. And then of course some of these special output options, for lowercase only if you want to use the rule set, which they encourage, but then also getting rid of some of the spaces and special characters as it generates them, throwing in zip codes and phone codes as well. So these are all these options. One thing I recommend just to start out with that I found to be very nice was to go straight up to the E flag. It was just kind of nice. It's in examples, and because they're going to break it down in different ways, they're showing you how to, if you want to grab some of these roads from England, here's how you would do it. From Italy, if you want to grab everything from there. They're going to show you all these options and give you some other ways to kind of focus on exactly what you're looking for, which area, and yada yada yada. It'll show you how to utilize it, and I thought that was a pretty handy feature. So we are first going to start out with targeting. Let's see, USA. We're going to go to South Dakota, and I want to grab colleges and universities in South Dakota. I want to mangle it and then get the output in lowercase. So we're going to hit that. We're going to hit go. Now you see it's going to pull off all these universities and colleges in South Dakota. It's going to do a little bit of mangling, and now so we've still got some words in there with spaces, so we're going to go ahead and get rid of those in a minute here. But it's going to generate all these, and this is not in quiet mode, so this is going to show them all. Now if we did it in quiet mode, we throw it in a file, and then we'd use it with Hashcat or John the Ripper to utilize it in those areas. So now this time we're going to take it a little bit further. We are going to throw in, I want to see some teams. I know DSU's got a college team, so I want to incorporate that in there too. And let's throw in some zip codes as well. I'm going to append and prepend to those names so we can get the zip codes as well. So now it's going to grab all the zip codes in that area, and it's going to throw them together. As you can see with a lot of the team names, we are going to have a Trojans in here somewhere, and it's going to throw all those zip codes in with the Trojans and just kind of mangle it. And then since we did the lowercase, we can throw this into, like I said, another John the Ripper or Hashcat is what they demonstrated, utilizing those to get your results. So finally, let's see, I want to, the zip codes, that was just a little bit much for me. I don't want to see that again. But what I do want to see is some of these passwords get a little lengthy when we're going to do in Dakota State University out. So we're going to truncate this down to 8 characters as our max. And it's going to generate all those. Now, realize we got rid of the zip codes too, but it's going to reduce all of those to, sorry, going too far, to 8 characters or less if we've got a max. And you can do minimum lengths, and I don't know if you saw that. I will show that quick. Here's 12 if we wanted to do that. But if we go back up and just take a look here, we can do, that's not what I wanted. We can do specify some of these min length, maximum length things, and if you have time, going through the child nodes. This is where you can really kind of explore all the usage options and data that they have available. So I want to move on because we're getting a little long here. So anyway, I just think this is a great program to utilize to really drill down. You're going to a very specific area in Louisiana or Nebraska or Ireland or wherever. You can pull all that data from roads, towns, all these things that are in people utilize, the easy things that people utilize to create passwords. Does it work? You bet it does. Again, video card, thank you. So typical word list results. So typically the statistics that they spouted were that your typical rock use and unique word lists are going to generate about a 40% rate for hash and password cracking. What they've found in the wild is that, oh, I wish this really looped because it was kind of neat, but what they found in the wild is that they were getting on average 10 to 12% at a low end and up to 50%. They quoted Mubix as getting up to, I think, 52%. He started at 40 and ended up at 92 after using the Wordsmith. He ran the RockU and then did the Wordsmith on top of it and got another over 50% in results using Wordsmith. Now obviously that's probably going to be a very unique situation, maybe a small town that everyone loves the high school football team or whatever, but anyway, they're getting good results with this. So here's some real world finds that they've gotten, and a lot of this you're not going to get with your RockUs and your uniques, but a lot of these where you see the numbers on the end, these are years people are born, these are zip codes or area codes that they're seeing a lot of these. So these are from Australia, Ireland, and then the United States, some in Canada, a couple of the examples here. And you see they're grabbing local area sports teams, colleges, names, Queenslander, it's just areas that people grew up. So these are real world finds that they're getting with this. So anyway, wrapping up, I hope you enjoyed this. I really do. I think this is a neat tool. It's fun to play with and just see some of the words that generated and then use it in your tests. But just want to thank you for watching, and hope everyone has a happy holidays. Take care.